He's actually got quite a foot.
Back through your hands.
The pectoral fins.
Oh yeah.
A huge difference there.
In the worst images by far.
Yeah, just wait till you talk to me. What was the fake would you give?
Pierce a little hole into the...
So that the agar is actually on top.
So before you start sampling, or even where the fish has been caught, get an idea of sort of what conditions are like. If it's low water, high water temperature, anything like that, it can kind of help at the lab when they come to put all the results together and look at the photos, and it can give a better idea of what's caused any problems. There will be a tube of 100% ethanol. That would be for taking the pectoral fin, which, looking at these fish, might be a challenge. So the first thing we would do, normally when we're doing the sample ourselves, before the fish has been killed, we would normally have a look over the fish. Look if there's any obvious marks or any lesions. So the first thing to do would be to have a look over the fish, make a note of anything, or take photos, is probably easier. What it would be to hold the tip of the pectoral fin and then cut as close to the base as you can. Just to sure, but that would go into the 100% ethanol. We base the issues, we've got two scalpels, tend to use one scalpel for all external samples, and then we'll throw that away and change your gloves, and then another scalpel for all the internal. You can do it with a scalpel or scissors, and this would be for the histology plots. Basically, the gill arch. And then what you would do is if you cut at the top and then to the left of your forceps, just to remove the section. And then the idea to be, once you have that section, you would then cut to the right of the forceps. And the idea is that you get a clean bit of something like that. Yeah. After taking the gill sample, you would then take a section of the lateral line. So the area to aim for would be just below the dorsal fin.
That should go right to the bone.
What you do is just put the scalpel in and then cut straight across, so you end up with a section of tissue. And what you're looking for, it's hard to see in these, but there's the lighter bit of tissue there. And again, that would just normally just go into the histology pot. Just give the fish a wipe down. Take a clean scalpel. Once we've opened the fish, before you do anything else inside, just have a look to see if there was anything that looked out of the ordinary. And again, we would tend to always take a picture just to so you have that reference to go back to. We would tend to do the bacteriology sample first before we end up doing any other tissues. Again, it just means you're not cross-contaminating anything. So if you take the not the loop end, but the other end of the, and you just want to pierce into a little hole into the kidney, and then with the loop, if you just push that into the hole that you've just pierced and take it out, you should have materials in the actual loop.
Show you how I was doing it.
So you're sampling the kidney, aren't you?
That's right, and that's the sample you need. Take the well.
If you look at the wall, which it goes out into the through, it's ahead of the liver and underneath.
And then, so if you do 2 lines across the kidney, and then if you cut, the idea would be to cut down the middle of the kidney and scoop out the section between the sort of 2 lines you've just cut across. Into the histology pot. So I mean, look, it doesn't make too much difference, but the order that I would normally do it would be to sample the spleen. So the easiest way is just to carefully cut the end of the spleen off.
I think this will be clearer in a wild fish. There's so much fat around it. Your piece of spleen there.
What you would want to sample with the liver is to make sure you have at least one outside edge of the liver. Make 2 incisions down into the edge of the liver, and then across, and then you can scoop out. Again, it's probably a piece about that big or even a little bit smaller. If there is larger pieces, they can be trimmed down back in the lab. It's not usually too much of a problem. The next, once you have sampled the liver, you sample the heart, and the easiest way I find for this is if you actually take the whole heart out and lay it onto the scalpel packet, because what you'll be doing is taking a cross section of basically cutting the heart in half.
These plastic tweezers are useless. You're not going to say
So we're going to remove the heart.
and it's, yeah, there's a bit of it. I'd love to move it behind.
And we're going to cut it in half. Like so.
And half of that goes in the histology pot.
Yep.
Is that right?
Again, that would just go straight into your histology pot.
Can't really see it from there. Yeah. That was not. I mean, do you try and take the food out that's in there, or it doesn't matter?
I mean, normally you don't tend to get that much.
Yeah.
Of it.
I think they were fed yesterday.
Unfortunately, I think we were.
Kind of.
Here.
Yes.
This is this area here.
No, that's the
The fat.
Which ones go back?
You can see there's
It's where you put
things
the
in
wasabi.
between
Yeah, yeah.
the small lines, and that's the Pyloric Caeca.
The spaghetti in here.
Yeah, the spaghetti, exactly. Those ones here.
Thank you.
So I think we actually managed to find it. One of them in your back pocket. We went to see that the book and found it.
Yeah.
Just kind of puts up eating.
You could flop it up and cut it from underneath as well. The needle sheet.
lessons in
So again, the virus tubes, there would usually be 3 different tubes, but each one, rather than having, I think in the past it's just had what virus it's testing for, the label would just be what piece of tissue you actually need to put in each tube, just to make it a bit easier. So for if you what you would be aiming for, which isn't always possible, would be just to fill the bottom of the tube, just fill the cone section. And so all you would need to do is take a small piece of spleen, a small piece of liver, and then for the kidney, for this sample, if you take a section of the head kidney, so basically much as far forward as you can sample, and then again it would just be a small piece of heart that you've kept to the side.
And then samples of those into the tubes.
Right, can you just go through a bit of the fish now then?
This one's fine.
When you sometimes don't have enough material for all your samples, but yeah, if it's larger fish, then if you take a small piece aside for doing the genetics, but yeah, again, so all you would be looking for, it's not the easiest thing to see in that, but it's just a small, tiny piece of tissue is all you need. Again, the tubes, once I find some proper labels, will be labelled with just what tissue goes in each tube, just to make it a bit quicker and a bit easier. And that would normally be the final sample. If you had any lesions on the outside of the fish, you would sample them as well for the bacteriology, but you would do that near this. That would be one of your first samples, and so that would kind of be it. That would be the only extra sample you might do, is if there was a lesion on the outside of the fish. So that would be onto another one of the plates if there was a lesion on the outside.